Hey friends, welcome to your weekly Prosecco and planning dates. I'm your host, LaShay Price, and I am so excited that you're here. If you're new here, I'm LaShay, and I'm a wife, a mom, and I'm also the founder of the Balanced Woman Planner. I am also a champion for making sure that busy women have the tools and strategies that they need to be able to navigate life, but also find a way to have all the things that she desires while living life on her terms. On this week's episode, we are talking about how to navigate career transitions and pivoting with purpose. And I'm going to be honest. For me to be 37, I have had a lot of career transitions. I have had a lot of pivots. And baby, today we are going to peel back all the layers, and I'm about to give y'all some juicy background story about your girl. So before we hop into this episode, y'all already know how we started off. We are starting it off with our Prosecco of the week. Now, this Prosecco, I actually went to Total Wines to scoop up, and it is called Capella, and it is their diamond collections. And y'all know, I'm the girl who owns 102 Creative Agency, which is the branding agency that tells the unorthodox stories of brands. And y'all already know, if there's anything that I love a good branding. I love packaging. I love presentations. And the presentation of this bottle, yeah, it was given. So this is my first time trying this brand. It is rooted in tradition. Our Diamond Collection Prosecco is crafted with grapes grown in northern Italy. And we're gonna pour a glass. One of the things that I personally love about Prosecco, a lot of people ask me, like, where did your love for Prosecco, like, really evolve? And I don't know. I don't know if it's because I just have, like, super bougie taste buds. I don't know. But your girl loves Prosecco. It is probably one of my favorite drinks to purchase. Like, I'll dabble in wines, but lately I have been on the Prosecco train, like, really hard. Alright, so today's episode, navigating career transitions and pivoting with purpose. Y'all, I personally feel like I've been, like, navigating career transitions since age 24. And y'all probably like, what? 24? So young? Yes, absolutely. Age 24. I distinctly remember graduating high school, and my ultimate career goal at the time was to go to college to become an early childhood educator. Yeah, you heard me right. I wanted to be a teacher. That was my ultimate career goal. I envisioned myself, like, teaching second, third grade. I used to teach a lot of Sunday school. I used to teach vacation Bible school. And I've just always been that person that has been, like, really good with children. And then at 24, better yet, 20, life happened. Actually, you know what? My career transitions actually started at 20. I told y'all 24. Absolutely not. They started at 20. 18, graduating high school, ready to go conquer the world, ready to go off to college. Actually, I had gotten, y'all probably won't believe this. I had gotten a scholarship to a Christian college here in South Carolina to go sing on the gospel choir. Yes, I sing. I sing. And if there's one thing that I can take to the grave with me, it would be the fact that I can sing just a little bit. But that was my dream. 18, going to college, early childhood education. I desired to teach. And then at 20, that's when my first career transition actually happened. honestly before it even got started. I got pregnant at 20. I became a single mom at 20. Some kind of way, your girl got mixed up with the local little hard head in my hometown, and I became a single mom at 20. So at that time, when I became a mom, I ended up having to drop out of college. So my goals of becoming an educator quickly started to go down the drain. And then I started working for a company doing tech support. I was troubleshooting internet connections, and that's actually how I ended up moving to Colombia. And by 24, I was a mom of two, and I had another career transition, and I was actually running the day-to-day operations of one of my ex-boyfriend's mom's company. Yeah. So she had this company where she was heavily doing stuff for retirement communities. And I think for me, that is where I discovered my ability to be a leader, and that is where the CEO in me was actually birthed. The experience that I gained while working for her actually opened the door to how I actually got into marketing. Y'all, I knew nothing about marketing. Nothing at all. The only thing that I knew or that I was doing at the time was actively showing up on social media. I was a heavy crafter. I would share my projects. I low-key was building my brand before personal brands became like a whole thing. So I'm working for her, right? And in the process of working for her, we were doing processing claims for Medicare. And that is really what opened the door to my marketing career. I ended up switching or transition careers again after that relationship just bloop, ended, and I ended up going to work at Blue Cross Blue Shield, and that's where I began to kind of further my knowledge behind what I was doing for her, because let's be honest, she gatekept a whole lot. There was some things that she showed me and she let me dab my hands in, but there was some things that she also was like, this is my secret sauce. You ain't getting it. You're going to focus here, and this is your baby. So I ended up taking a job at Blue Cross Blue Shield, which was basically where I ultimately was doing the back end side of what I was doing with her. And then that led into my career of transitioning out of Blue Cross Blue Shield and going to work for a retirement community. And when I went to go start working at this retirement community, I started there as their business office manager. It was literally everything that I was doing with her with a little spin to it. And their social worker there ended up retiring, and that's where the marketing piece really got put on my plate. So there I was, like 26, 27, business office manager, marketing director for a retirement community. And literally things just began to evolve from there. I worked there. I moved to other retirement communities. I did marketing, community outreach director, and I was pretty much responsible for marketing and getting new patients into our retirement communities. But there was still something about that just wasn't like fulfilling. I was in my 20s, going into my 30s, and undergreed, making a really good salary, making enough money to actually provide for my kids as a single mom. But there was something that was missing. I was very unfulfilled because I felt like I landed in a career that wasn't true and authentic to me or where I would have personally seen myself. Gotta remember, I was going to school to be a teacher, and then I became a mom, and then everything else was just like, sis, you got to do what you got to do to survive. So it wasn't, you know, you can just quit and just go do what you want to do. I'll be honest, I really didn't know what I wanted to do at that point. I knew I wanted to be a teacher, but so much had changed so fast, right? So time went on, and I'm working in this marketing field, and I was miserable. I started to craft, and I started to learn that I was like really creative, which I never really knew. I knew that like I always had like a love for colors and textures and patterns and all the things, but I never really knew that I was creative. And I remember buying my first embroidery machine, and that is where my entrepreneurship journey was birthed. Bought this embroidery machine, and I remember it so vividly. This is like when my husband and I first met, and I started Etsy shop. This was probably 2012-ish, if I had to like guesstimate. So I started this Etsy shop. Never sewn in my life. Like, never sewn. Now, my mom sews, my grandmother sews, my aunties used to sew. I lived in the fabric store as a kid. But, baby, I've never sewn before. And so I get this embroidery machine slash sewing machine. And I started making infinity scarves, and I would do the monogram. I sure did. Started Etsy shop, and flourished. It was crazy. I was getting orders from California, making 27 scarves plus at a time. And it was honestly at that moment when I realized that I was more fulfilled as a creative and doing creative things than what I was being fulfilled in the day-to-day 9 to 5 that I was showing up. Don't get me wrong. I loved what I was doing in my 9 to 5. What I loved the most was I got to help so many families who were in need find a place for their loved ones, right? I got to help. I got to be that person that they got to pour their frustrations and all the things in. But there was also a part of me that was like, God, there has to be so much more to life than this. And so from there, it literally evolved to, all right, I'm crafting, I'm doing DIY stuff on the side, I'm still working my 9 to 5, and then I started dabbling in photography, y'all. I picked up the camera not to become a photographer. I literally picked up the camera because I had a personal goal of learning how to photograph all of my DIY projects, my tablescapes, my home decor. I personally had a vision of one day being on HGTV. So photography was basically the tool or the skill that I needed to learn that would actually help pivot me into where I personally desired to be in the future. But then God does what he does. He bamboozles us, right? So I get bamboozled into photography, and I am shooting families, I'm shooting children, I'm shooting everything. And I'm still working in my corporate position. It became not as it became tolerable. I had an outlet, right? I had something that was fueling my creativity, something that was bringing me joy. So I really didn't complain much. But the more that I started to really, really, really hone in on the things that was bringing me joy, the more miserable that I became. Because I felt like I had found my calling. There was a part of me that knew that what I was doing in marketing in the retirement communities was a part of my calling and a part of my purpose, but I also knew that there was something missing. So working and getting up to work every single day began to get so much harder. Like my husband would literally like have to drag me out of the bed. Like I had a corporate cell phone and I would take my lunch breaks. I would do two things, y'all. And I kid you not. This is how miserable I was. I would take my lunch breaks and I would drive like a mile down the street to the Walmart. And I can laugh at this now. And I would literally cry. Like I was so miserable. 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 And then there were other times where I'm like, I wonder what would happen. Because we had a lake on campus. I wonder what would happen if I took this phone and I just chunked it in the lake. I just quit. What would my husband say? How would he feel that I never did it? And 2020, in the middle of the pandemic had just started. I had started to really like hone in. If I'm going to be dabbling in photography and people are going to pay me, the Lord literally told me, you need to switch your business model to solely branding. And I remember this was actually right before 2020. So this was like November 2019. I remember finding a studio space one day on my way home, or a vacant building. And I remember scheduling an appointment to go look at it. And that was the first time that I actually thought about actually taking the leap out of corporate. First time ever. So over the weekend, my husband and I, we go look at this space, talk to my father-in-law. Listen, y'all, everybody was on board. Everybody. I'm like, got an exit strategy. I got a plan. I'm going to be doing photography. We're going to rent this baby out. Like, I had a plan. And I remember my husband saying he didn't know. So at the time, we were the only person that was really interested in the space. That following Monday, I get back to work. My father-in-law called me and he's like, hey, like I have the money. I'm ready to invest. But I can't overstep my husband. I can't overstep my son. So I call my husband. I'm like, hey, I talked to your dad. Actually, the landlord guy just called and he's like, there's somebody else that's interested. Like, is it a yay or a nay? And first it was like nay. And then it went from he could kind of see my vision a little bit. And literally by this time he was like getting on board with the vision. The landlord texted me. He was like, somebody just came and secured the building. I was so crushed. At the time, this is like December 2019. So I vividly remember my husband upstairs in one of our rooms. He built me out this whole studio space. And that's when the Lord told me to start pivoting to branding. He was like, take your corporate marketing experience and start helping women to actually tell the stories behind their brand. And that was the first time that what I was purposed to do kind of collided with my creativity. And I had this whole thing. I'm going to start doing branding shoots upstairs in the studio space. And then COVID hits. COVID hits and shifts all of that. But not only did COVID shift that, COVID also shifted my corporate position. I don't know if I was like being disobedient and playing around with God too much, But literally in July 2020, I got furloughed, y'all. Out of the blue, didn't see it coming. I mean, I kind of saw it coming. I mean, I couldn't go out to the hospitals to market because of COVID. So I kind of saw it coming. I was like volunteering and serving in our memory care community, doing games and different things just to be able to have something to do, right? Families weren't admitting their loved ones to facilities like that whole nine. But I did not see getting furloughed coming. And I remember the day that I got the call. It was literally the Monday after July 4th. And I was home with Lauren. We were testing her for COVID. The girls at her gym, she was doing gymnastics full time at that time. The girls at her gym, they had COVID. And it was just like, I had this huge sigh of relief. I was more disappointed. I wasn't even disappointed. I wasn't even fearful of where we were going to even have money to sustain me not having a job. Because let's be honest, we had made the decision that at some point I would get a studio space, but we also needed to start saving and preparing for it. We hadn't started saving. We were broke. Like, we were broke. Y'all heard me. We were broke. So when I got the call that I was being furloughed for 90 days, it was just like, whoa, God. One sense, I was relieved, right? Because now I can really dive or try to dive into this whole creative endeavor around this pandemic. But I was also fearful because here I am navigating another career transition to where I no longer have a corporate salary. I am dependent upon other people trusting me and my gifts and talents to actually provide a service to them. But I took the leap of faith. I did it, and by October, that studio space that I was not able to get in November 2019, I was actually able to get. So October 2020, I was able to get my studio space. My father-in-law was one of my biggest investors, and I, yet again, was navigating another career transition, but I was step by step pivoting into my purpose. And so there I was. I had my creative studio space. I serviced my branding clients there. I rented the studio space out to other creatives. Your girl was living her best life. Do you hear me? I was literally living a dream. I was showing up every day, doing the things that I love, minus, oh God, having a mop, a 1,300 square foot space, white floors, white walls by myself. But it didn't matter. I was doing the thing that I knew in that season I was supposed to be doing. And one thing that you will learn here on this show and on this YouTube, I am a woman of faith. And one thing that this woman of faith don't play about, she do not play about being obedient and trusting when God gives her a word to move on it, regardless of what it looks like on the other side. I'll be honest, I'm reckless. If the Lord tells me to jump, I'm a jump. If the Lord tells me to leap, I'm going to leap. And the reason why I stand on that, because behind every act of obedience has been something miraculous that God has done for me. And I stand on that. So, January of last year, January 2023, I found myself navigating. And I'm getting teary-eyed. Like, wait a minute now. I can't cry my makeup off for y'all. January 2023, I found myself navigating yet another career transition that I did not see coming at all. Like, I'm for real getting teary-eyed. Hold on. I remember the Lord told me to let my studio space go. Y'all, if y'all knew the amount of work that my family and I put into this space, I mean, night after night after night, this space literally had blue walls, green turf on the floor, and we literally flipped it to white walls, white floors. And the Lord said, let it go. Turn in your lease. Let your lease up. Let your lease go. Mind you, my lease was not up. I signed a 3-year lease, y'all. Signed my lease in October 2020. My lease was not up until November 2023. This is January 2023. The Lord said, let it go. So I reach out to my landlord. He's faith-based. And I'm like, Cal, this is what the Lord is telling me. I don't know what this is going to look like. I don't know if you're going to need me to pay up for the next 10 months. But this is what it is. And he said, you're fine. Just let me know if this is what you decide to do. And I did. And my last day in the studio was February the 6th. I sold everything that I had invested in that studio space, all of the furniture, all of my props. Y'all was literally just giving stuff away. Take it. Nothing is coming home with us. Take it. I think the only thing that I really brought home was probably this wall art here, my books, my coffee mugs, and then I replicated the wallpaper because this is the wallpaper that we had on a rolling wall that Jabari built at the studio. I replicated it here. That was literally it. And a week later, I was navigating another career transition again. I got offered a position with a nonprofit as a brand director. And y'all, I did not even apply for this position. Now, let me tell you how faith and obedience work. Because if I had not obeyed God with closing my studio space, there is absolutely no way that I would have been ready to step or even begin to pivot into this new opportunity that He had opened for me. No way. Like, absolutely no way. And I literally took that position. I traveled for months. I got to work at my purpose. I got to literally expand my portfolio. I got to expand my resume. I got to expand my skills. I got to diversify my skills. And then guess what? October, another career transition. I got laid off. Laid off out of the blue. And so everything that we encounter in life as we navigate through our careers and we go through these transitions and we begin to pivot into like what God is calling us to do. I really want y'all to know that all the ups, the downs, the highs, the lows, the closed doors, the open doors, all of those things, if I want to be honest, all of those things are really interconnected. Every opportunity that you pursue, every skill that you hone into, all of that is really interconnected into where God is really wanting you to do and what He's calling you to do is connected to your purpose, is connected to your passion, and it is connected to your calling. And so your girl had a lot of transitions over here, and I'm still transitioning. And I think I have honestly just gotten to a space of just like, okay, God, whatever you're going to do in this season, I know that everything that I have learned collectively along the way is going to play a bigger role in what you're calling me to do. And I'm just honestly learning just to sit still, right? I'm learning to sit still. I'm learning to trust his timing. And I'm learning that his timing is not always mine. But I'm also learning to just honestly just be obedient, right? Being obedient, friends, is so important. As you embrace your shifts and embrace navigating through career changes, one of the things that has really helped me on my journey has really been reflecting on like my core values and reflecting on um, my beliefs, my skills, my passions, and really identifying what truly matters to me. That has been a big part of like how I really like navigated through all of these career transitions on my journey, right? And then another thing that has helped me has been able to really be in a space of building new skill sets, like embracing uh, different experiences, different skills, acquiring new skills, not being afraid to try new things, looking for different opportunities to enhance your skills. I think that a lot of times we get so comfortable with where we are that we do not take time to actually try something new, right? We don't take time to actually um, try to learn a new skill, learn a new trade. And if I can encourage you to do anything, do something new, try something new, step outside of your comfort zone. And then lastly, never forgetting to network, and then also like seeking guidance. I remember in 2016, shortly after Jabari and I got married, I actually hired a career therapist. Yep, I hired a career therapist. And I know y'all probably like, girl, what is that? Like, just like how you hire and you go to a therapist that actually helps you talk through your emotions, your trauma, and all those things. Like, I actually hired or went to a career therapist that actually helped me navigate where I was in that season. And how I began to learn a lot by myself was I took the Myers-Briggs, and I really learned that how I was and how I was functioning. I used to always say, not all who wonders are lost. My husband used to look at me like I was crazy. Like, girl, one day you doing this, one day you doing that, tomorrow you doing this. Like, I don't know what you got going on, but I need you to get it together. But working with Samantha actually allowed me to realize that I just been wired differently. I ain't crazy. And then though, like really just being able to get advice and get insight and learning who you are will help so much. So as you are learning and you're navigating like your career transitions, those are three things that I really do feel like will actually like help you. So this week, as you are planning out your week, your life, your day, like really take time to like really see how you can really like hone in on your career, things that you can do to grow, things that you can do to enhance your skills. And then if you are in the middle of a career transition, figuring out, you know, what are things that I value? Like, what are things that I'm passionate about? And how can I shape that and use that as I begin to navigate and pursue new career opportunities? So, yeah, y'all, I am going through and I'm working on my schedule this week. This week is a very busy week for me. Y'all know I got my stickies. I did a mass brain dump. So I did a mass brain dump of things that I have to do for the week. And what I am doing is I'm going to transfer everything over to my Balanced Woman Planner because she never fails me. I am writing out my top 3 priorities for this week. What else am I doing? Top 3 priorities for the week. I got my massive to-do list, and then I'm literally just going to break these baby down day by day and break it down based on what I got going on. So I hope y'all are taking time this week to plan and be productive. Y'all, when I'm writing this Balanced Woman Planner, I don't have it in here, but I love a good Pilot G2 10 point. And then I also love these ultra fine markers. Like, they are my favorite. But take time this week to really plan out your priorities, do a mass dump of your to-do list, and then chunk everything down based on your availability this week. And before we wrap up, y'all, if you're local to Columbia, South Carolina, even if you're not local and you are willing to travel, I am finally taking the leap, and I am cultivating community and sisterhood and authentic connections again in 2024. And I am starting a community quarterly event. It's called Brunch and Bubbles, and we are kicking off the first quarter with a Galentine's Day brunch here in Columbia. I will some kind of way figure out how to share it. I'll share it in the show notes. That's what I'll do. I'll put it there. But if you are looking for a space, I know as women we're busy, we're navigating through life, we're wearing many hats, but oftentimes we are not taking the time to meet new people. We're not taking the time to foster sisterhood, and I want to be able to curate a space where we can all come together for a short amount of time to be able to just decompress, be together, meet new people, and build a sisterhood of other busy women who literally want the most out of their life on their own terms. I also need a favor. If you can share this episode with your friends, if you can go follow me on social media, if you can subscribe or whatever it's called, I would so appreciate it. And if you could tell me in the comments, like, have you ever navigated through a career transition? What has that looked like for you? And if you have other tips that may help others who are navigating navigating a career transition or coming out of one, or just a tip that could help somebody that may want to store something in their mental bank if they ever do get to a space where they're navigating. Put it in the comments. I would love to see them. And this week, don't forget to take a moment, toast to your big and your small victories this week. And I will see you guys back here, same time, same place, for our weekly Prosecco and planning dates with LaShay. Talk to y'all later. Bye.